morning, everybody. We're at the gym and we're about to talk about fitness with a phenomenal woman who I'll introduce you shortly. But before that, you know I'm going to tell you about my Dawa, right? Which you should have downloaded by now, right? You obviously have it on your phone, I'm willing to bet. If not, it's okay. It's really simple. Just pick up your phone right now even. Just go to Google Play and search My Dawa and then download it. And just like that, you've got convenience at your fingertips, people. It's 2018. There's no need to queue at the lines and people are standing right behind you and you're like, I am just so tired, I want to get home. Go to My Dawa, download it, or you can just check out their website, www.mydawa.com. And what's great about these guys is that they have a wealth of products, whether it's wellness products, you know, supplements, they have diapers, so baby care products, they've got your beauty products, your skincare products. And what I personally like is that you can be assured of the quality and that they don't have any counterfeit products, which a lot of times the market is infiltrated with things that aren't really what they are supposed to be or what you think that they are. But you hear more of that towards the end of the show. I'll let the expert from My Dawa break it down to you. For now, meet my guest, Anne-Marie Burungu, who is this 45-year-old incredible woman. She is a co-founder and director at Vivo Activewear. She's the first Kenyan female to be a certified solo skydiver. She travels the world, and this year she challenged herself to 365 days of working out every single day. So obviously she's someone that we want to meet, and we want to understand how exactly she got to be so full of life. So take a look. So I'm here with the Anne-Marie Burungu, who has, blown my mind with how fit she was. Before we started this, she already did a pre-workout, and I'm now going to ask her to do a little bit more. And I bet she'll just be like, oh, it's okay, it's a breeze. Yeah, love it. So, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
Oh, no, it's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Are you feeling out of breath after your last workout? Are you just like, you're feeling good?
Yeah, re-energized.
Re-energized?
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll feel re-energized after this. So I would love for you to show me a quick workout that you do whenever you're on the go, because you know we're going to jump into the 365 challenge that you've got for yourself later, but you've committed yourself to doing something every day, no excuses, whether you're at home, on holiday, you know, work, conference, whatever it may be, you are still working out. So what are those quick little workouts that you could do at home or wherever it is that you are that doesn't require, you know, this facility?
Okay, so one of the things I believe is that you don't necessarily need a gym to be able to exercise.
Yeah.
So I'll show you, and one of the things that I really love to exercise is the core, because I think it's important to have a strong core, and that means exercising your abdominals and your lower back, just keeping them really strong, because ultimately that helps your posture, it helps you feel much stronger, and it helps you just be more functionally fit. So, no better exercise than the plank, yeah?
Okay.
And there's different variations of that. We'll start with the basic one. So, what you want is your elbows under your shoulders, palms straight down.
Okay. I have to say I did 30 seconds of this last night. I haven't done it in a long time, but I was trying to prep myself for this.
Okay, so some people like to keep their hands crossed. I just like to press the forearm into the floor. Okay, and then just raising your knees off the floor, and then avoiding sticking your butt up in the air. So you want to be in a nice straight line, and you want your neck in line with your spine. And then just squeezing your abs, yeah? And just holding it there.
How long are we doing this for?
Now we could do it as long as, if you did 30 seconds yesterday, we should do 45.
Okay. Should I be shaking?
Well, yeah, I'm shaking a little bit as well. Just also if you engage your abs, then you shake quite a bit. But why I like this exercise is because you can vary it. So you can keep this as the basic, but there's also different alternatives. You can just rock from side to side, and that way then you're engaging your obliques a little bit more. You feel it? Just, yeah. Yeah, so that's one variation that I really like to do. Okay, right? So you can go back to your basic, yeah?
No. I'm not gonna break.
Right, so another way you could do it is you can just take your right knee and reach it towards your right shoulder.
Oh, maybe I need a break.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Just a second. Just a second, I'm gonna do it just now. Wow, okay. Okay, so
like I was saying, the beauty with the plank is that there's just lots of different ways of just sprucing it up, yeah? So if you start again in your basic plank, you could just take knee to the elbow, towards the elbow, and then back, and then the opposite side.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And you feel it? It just works differently.
Yeah.
So that way, you're not only engaging your core, you're engaging your hip area as well, your upper thigh, your obliques as well, because of that action of bringing the knee towards the elbow. Yeah?
Right.
It's a different variation. And so with that, even starting just by, even if it's 3 on each side, you know, next time around you might be able to do 5 on each side and just constantly challenging yourself.
I'm not just saying this because you're here, but I will for sure do it. And I'll start with 5 every day for at least 30 days. And I'll go from 5 to 6 to 7 to the point that I can do it and not just do one on national television and embarrass myself next to Anne-Marie Burungu. Okay, so now I'd love to know a little bit more about how you got to where you are today. Obviously, you're quite fit, and obviously you're very passionate about it. I can even hear it from the way you just are so knowledgeable about what's taking place. So I'd like to start from understanding your relationship with your body growing up, and if you were always so active.
Okay, right, so up until the age of 16, I was reasonably active, but more because my parents really believed that each of us, my brothers and I, engaged in some sort of sport, you know, so we were put into, you know, a lot of sporting activities. So it was pretty much the way I grew up. As a family, we ran.
What?
Yeah, 3 to 5
no,
times a week. Yeah.
You're kidding.
Yeah. My dad, my mom, you know, and we ran on average about 5 kilometers. The shortest run we ever did was about 3 kilometers. And then I went to boarding school in England, hated it, and I stopped doing everything.
Because you stopped running, you mean?
I stopped running, I stopped swimming. I used to swim competitively.
Okay.
I stopped all that.
Yeah.
And mainly because I was so miserable. You know, it was a completely different environment. I was homesick, hated the school that I went to. And so I just didn't flourish. And, you know, I started eating. I loved comfort eating.
Oh, in high school. Wait, let's go back to you running with your family, 3 to 5 kilometers.
Yeah.
That means mom, dad, and you and your brother. How many brothers? 3 brothers.
The only one that was exempt was my little brother, because there's a big age difference between him and me. But for sure, me and my 2 brothers, we...
And you all kept up, or did they sort of go with the slowest
No,
person?
I was always like the second last. You know, my mom and I would be ones hovering. In fact, she would be ahead of me. I'd be the last one most of the time. So we're always my dad, you know, my brothers.
I'm so impressed that was it was really part of your like family rituals or values.
So I mean, my parents are health freaks.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't know this at the time, but later on, their whole reasoning was if they could get us into sport, it would keep us out of mischief going forward, you know. And it's true because, like I say, I swam competitively. So in my teens, I never wanted to go clubbing, you know, because I had to train because the next day I was competing or whatever. You know, the same thing with my brothers, you know.
Smart theory, parenting tip right there. Throw them into sport.
And they're so consumed, you know, with it. And my son at the same. Right now, I'm actually my kids. You know, my daughter less so, but my son is completely focused in on his sport, and he doesn't drink. He doesn't want to go out. You know.
Wow. Okay. Right. Okay. So you go to high school, and you decide you're done with this. Yeah.
I start eating and eating really badly. I mean, I'd buy those chocolate gâteaux. I'd hide them in my closet and whatever, and in my break go and just, you know, scoff away. So I put on a lot of weight.
Do you remember how much?
Yeah. So, but I was always. By the time I went to boarding school, I was probably about 52, 53 kilos. I went up to 65 at that point.
Yeah.
And I would sort of gravitate between 62 and 65, so significantly bigger. And I hated it. I really, really hated it. In fact, a lot of the time I would feel like I'm in somebody else's body, like that wasn't me. And I remember actually really consciously making the choice not to look at myself. So I never used mirrors. You know, if I took a shower, I had long hair at the time, you know, I just never ever looked at myself because of how uncomfortable I felt. But a big turning point, and I spoke about this at Dadasphere recently, a big turning point was coming home for the holiday, getting dressed for my 16th birthday. I had friends coming over, putting on a pair of jeans that my parents had bought a few months earlier, really squeezing into them, but really happy that I'd fit, you know, because I knew I'd put on weight. And then my dad telling me that he thought I should go up and change because I looked fat. He's like, you just don't look good, just go and change, you know? And that was a blow to me.
Yeah.
So when I went back to school, went back into my swimming, I took up squash, I started running again, I played tennis, you know, so became really super active, lost the weight. It's the first time I started weight training again, or started weight training ever really, and was amazed at the results. I mean, I toned up, I was, you know, looking and actually feeling really good. Big boost when I started dating and all that kind of stuff, you know. So I remained pretty consistent, but then again, babies came, weight came on. I was in a marriage, and when I put on the weight, there was something about the weight gain that I put on after the baby, but again, just wasn't me. I mean, it was. And I think also because of everything else that was going on at home and in my marriage, it somehow it just amplified even more. Yeah. So as a result, just felt really crappy about myself on very many levels. Yeah. But got determined again to go back to where it is that I've been, because I knew that feeling of feeling really good and all that. Yeah. So initially the motivation was more about looking good. Yeah. But as I've grown older, I mean, I do this because I really do feel good. So it's not so much about looking good anymore. Right. It's more about
yeah. So I know that you're also a certified Pilates instructor, and that you also do HIIT training. That's high intensity, interval training. So how did it go from I just want to work out because you know I want to look good, and then now it's making you feel good, and then now you're like, wait a second, I want to take a step higher and know how to do this, you know?
So after I had my son, so I've got 2 kids, a daughter and a son. So after I had my son, is really the point I put on the most weight, you know. And in fact, I look back at photos at the time, I'm like, ooh.
Is that your first child or second child?
Second child. I started exercising when he was about a year old to try and lose the weight, but I found it harder. Not so much physically, but also psychologically. I mean, I just couldn't get over the fact that my body was changing so drastic.
Right. How old were you?
This time I was about 27, 28. But 2 kids later, just. So when I would exercise, I just felt like I was in a rut. I was doing the same things all the time, you know. So the gym I went to had the same trainers who were taking me through the same program all the time, and quite frankly, I was getting bored. Yeah. So a friend of mine had opened a fitness college. And so I thought, for my own motivation, let me enroll, let me just understand how, the science behind fitness and whatever. So I actually did a course in Pilates instruction, but also in fitness instruction as well. So at diploma level, I became internationally accredited, and that ultimately gave me a really renewed boost into working out and varying my workouts, but also working out with people. It just completely shifted my views towards exercise.
Yeah. So what's your favorite? I mean, you've obviously been at it for literally all your life, although you've had your ins and outs and ups and downs. But what's your favorite part about this? What is it that you enjoy the most about being able to keep active and maintain a healthy lifestyle?
To be honest, it's the feeling. Like I say, it's the feeling. Often, some mornings, I prefer to work out in the morning because personally, it just sets a really good tone to the rest of the day. I find that mentally I'm more productive. Physically I feel much more energized, and then it's done. There's nothing that's going to come and interfere with it. During the day, I have been through phases where I'd be like, actually, I don't feel like I want to sleep in a little bit more in the morning. I'll work out in the evening, and then stuff happens. You're stuck in traffic. You spend a little bit longer in the office or whatever it is, and that way you're more likely to compromise, your sessions. So first thing in the morning, and there are days that I mentally find it very hard to even imagine myself walking into the gym or whatever it is. But what my focus is the feeling after. I mean, because honestly, it feels really, really good, and that pride. I mean, I literally high-five myself because I'm like, you were gonna miss this, and look how good you're feeling now. And
have you found that it's gotten easier or more difficult the older you've gotten?
It depends on what's really going on, to be honest. I mean, there are times I find it's very easy, you know, I don't even have to think about it. It's second nature for the most part. It's a lifestyle. It's like going to take a shower, you know, it's just something, you know, that I do. But if I go through a phase where there's stress at work, or physically I'm not feeling okay, I've got a flu or whatever it is, then obviously it's a little bit harder, just depending on whatever external.
Right, and I'm curious, in that moment when you do have your lulls and maybe you don't go consistently, do you find it hard to jump back on, or do you think because you've been maintaining it quite consistently?
So this year I've been very, very, very clear that I have to do it, you know, and even when I waver, I'm like, no, you know, and I'm like, why am I putting so much pressure on myself? You know, nobody's held a gun to my head and said, you, whatever, you know. But ultimately, I feel like I'll let myself down. You know, I was very clear at the beginning of the year, this is a commitment I was making with myself. And, or rather to myself. And I just feel like I'm important enough to not let down. You know what I mean? Right. It's like if I make a commitment to you and I don't want to let you down, it's the same thing. I don't want to let myself
yourself down, which is, I think, the ultimate commitment. Okay, we have to take a quick break. When we come back, I'll be asking more about her 365-day challenge. Anne-Marie, earlier this year, decided she's not going to break for nothing. And that's what we're going to dive into. How have you kept it up for so long? We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. We're at Alpha Fit, and we're talking fitness with Anne-Marie Burungu, who is this 45-year-old whose body I want to just steal. Although, you know, at the end of the day, if you want to feel good, I know that we can all have this body that we dream of, or this, you know, whatever we envision for ourselves. We just have to put in the work, isn't it? Yeah. So speaking of work, what do you have for me in this next exercise session? Because she's been showing me exercises that we can all do at home, on a trip, every single day, no excuses. And you don't need to have all these, like, you know, tools and great equipment at your disposal. It's great, but you don't have to have it. So what do you want us to do now?
So the other thing, so we went through a little plank series. The next stuff I want to show you about is upper body strength, because I think women, we tend to lack that a lot. I think it's important to be able to be, you know, strong in our arms and upper back. So series of push-ups, which not very many people like. And there's different ways of doing it. And the most basic way is with the knees down. And again, making sure you're not sticking your butt up in the air. You want to be in a straight line. So just adjusting your hands to slightly more than shoulder width apart. And then just literally just bending your elbows out to the side. Okay, so now try not to stick your butt up like that, okay? So you might need to adjust yourself. So you're at an angle, it's almost 45 degrees. Okay. You could keep your feet resting down, or you could raise them up and cross the ankles.
I think I'll do this.
Okay, and that's it. And coming up.
Woo!
Yeah.
So how many of these
and then
should one do?
You should aim for 10.
Okay.
And the beauty about this again is that progressively, I'll show you, there's different ways you can do it as well. So if you start to feel that you're getting stronger, you can start by taking the knees off the floor, and then again, you're just coming up.
I saw the episode where Michelle Obama challenged Ellen. Did you see? And Michelle beat Ellen. I'm not a Michelle. That's for sure. That's for sure. No, look, I think I'm gonna try do one.
If you try one, or even just keeping the knees down, little changes, or even just playing around with your hand position. So, for example, if you bring your hands closer, so your thumbs are touching, and then keep your index fingers together, so you're a tough one. So this targets more the triceps. Okay. So it's upper body as well, but it's your arms as well. We always want nice arms.
I can't. Wow.
And that sort of hits that area as well. And then again, just different ways of playing around with that. You could take it wider, you could bring it narrower, you could bring it together. You could also play around with it. Again, you could keep your knees down or take them off, but let's do it with the knees down, it's easier. But rather than take your elbows out to the side, so you sort of internally rotate your arms, so the inside of the elbow is facing forward. And then as you bend your elbows are facing the back. You feel it? It's different. It's different, yeah? So there's different ways of doing that.
So embarrassed that I can't do a single push-up, a proper push-up.
Now.
Even the camera crew is laughing at.
But this is the thing, because I find that the human body responds if you're consistent. So that's why I'm saying you can't do it now. But I bet you try it tomorrow, you try it the next day, even if it's just one, I guarantee you in a week's time, you're like, whoa, you know, I just did.
Okay, how about we do that? In 1 week's time, I'll message you and tell you if I am able to do a full, for this one, at least one, and then a normal push-up with like legs up, at least one. 1 week's time.
You don't even have to go, if you're doing the normal one, say with your legs, whatever, you know, even if you can't go all the way down, you know, even if you just try halfway, and, yeah? The thing is to challenge yourself, yeah? There you go. There you go.
Okay. So I just said you were literally so close to it and coming back up. But I'll try,
it's just a time thing.
Okay, so you've been doing this for not 300, I think when I checked your page it was 314.
Yeah, so yesterday I think it was 340. I've even lost, always have to, but it's about, I think today's 215 days. Today's,
right, yeah. How have you stuck to the challenge?
So I'll tell you why I got into the challenge in the first place. So I've pretty much been active on and off, okay? 2 years ago, I needed to go in for surgery, and it was at a time where I had picked up the exercise and I was in a really sort of good flow with it. And when I went in for the surgery, they told me, you know, you've got to take 6 to 9 months off. So no physical activity at all. At most I could do is walk, but even then not too much. And so what happens with exercise is when you fall off the wagon, so to speak, it's very difficult to get back on. You keep intending to, but it's just not as easy. So the following year, started 1st of January, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. But I wasn't consistent, so I'd do a couple of weeks and then miss a day. Before I knew it, I was missing a week and whatever. So I was back into that whole whatever. So with my Pilates, by the way, I have a group of women that I work with consistently. But over the last couple of years, what had become quite obvious was that the older we, and I'll say we as women, the older we get, the more frustrated we are with our bodies, because our bodies are not what they used to be, you know? And there's an awareness that comes with that we're just not at home with our bodies. So we know that we need to do something about it, but that will to exercise is not always that strong, you know? So we want to, but we don't, and then we feel guilty, and then we complain, and then we're putting on weight. So there's this rut that we get into. And so I would get women at the start of the year saying, you know, help me to exercise, I want to lose weight, I want to do this, I want to firm up, I want, you know, all these goals that we set for ourselves. But, and it sounds really bad to generalize, but the pattern that became really glaringly obvious was amongst Kenyan, African, Miro women, whatever, they would sign up, they're fantastic for a couple of weeks, and then they start missing sessions, and it would be stuff like, oh, I have an early morning meeting, or oh, I have to, you know, do this. So there's always stuff that came in the way. But what was really interesting is with my sort of European or my expat clientele, once they sign up and once they commit, you know, nothing, you know, moves them from that, whatever, you know. So when I started to then talk to my African clients, I'm like, okay, so what's with this? It all boiled down to almost putting themselves, and I'll put myself there, almost putting ourselves at the bottom of the list. So everything else comes first, and then if there's time, I'll exercise, you know? If there's time, I'll do this. And if there's no time, then I'll get everything else done, but, you know. So my thing of getting into the challenge was, or to giving this challenge was, first and foremost for me, you know, to be able to follow through to something that I say, so that I prove to myself that I can prioritize myself enough to do what it is that I say, but also to show and hopefully inspire other people in the process. And that to me was that you don't need hours and hours to be in a gym exercising. You can actually exercise from wherever it is that you are. And it's as little as committing half an hour a day.
Right. So on average, how long do you work out in?
So it depends. So I'll commit to at least 30 minutes a day. There are days that I feel stronger and I'll do an hour, or I'll do an hour twice. You know, like I might do something in the morning, I might do something else in the evening. But my commitment is half an hour because, I mean, even scientifically, it's proven if you can just do 30 minutes every day. In fact, they say 30 minutes, I think it's 3 times a week.
And that's not much.
It's not much.
That's not much. So have there been moments where you thought, oh, who actually needs it? Do I need to do this? I worked out for 270 days. That's good enough.
Not even that. Even like, I'd say the first quarter of the year was the hardest because I also started with a lot of steam. So I pushed myself really hard. And there were days I'd wake up sore, literally from the neck down, and then think to myself, but I worked out 2 or 3 times yesterday, surely that must cover for me today. But I'm like, no. And part of what I had set out to do was to say that I don't have to exercise hard every day, so as long as I'm active. So that could mean just going out for a walk. So on days like that, I would now walk around Jaffrey's or decide I'm going to do something different, so or even dance, you know?
Right. I've been seeing you've been dancing as well with Mundia and stuff, which makes me feel like we need to up our bestie game, Mundia and Melinda. We need to be doing fun things like this. But it's been today's 315 days. What have you learned about yourself in that time period with regards to this commitment?
I think we're much stronger than we give ourselves credit for. And I mean, there's certain things that I definitely couldn't do at the start of the year that I can do now, you know? And it's just been, and I can't say that I've pushed myself excessively in any one thing. I mean, I've done various things, but if I look at yoga, for example, I couldn't do like the wheel, you know? I couldn't do that at the beginning. I couldn't do a headstand, you know? And so that's sort of, there are times that my body just surprises me with what it can suddenly do that I couldn't do before. What else have I learned? It's a process that's taught me to really appreciate my body at a different level, you know. So when I can get out of bed and I can walk up and down, so I can exercise, whatever, I'm like, wow, you know, this is this body doing this for me. But ultimately, it's giving me so much joy, and it's taught me, not to take for granted, you know, at all. So when I work out, I find that, you know, if I can do a movement, even if it's bending my elbows, whatever it is, I can do it, you know? Dancing, I started dancing classes at the beginning of the year. I can dance. I mean, I couldn't dance. This time last year, I couldn't, you know.
I mean, for your trip to Costa Rica.
Cuba,
You were literally getting those moves on.
So stuff like that. I mean, just a newfound appreciation.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously, you know, it's quite clear that this health journey you're on, it's a lifestyle, and I'm sure it's not that just the gym that you are focused on, or the workouts that you're focused on, but there's also, I'm sure, the food angle that has to play with in partnership with what you're doing at the gym. So what is your food philosophy?
Okay, you know what? I'll be really honest. I struggle with the food.
Really?
Yeah, because I love food.
Okay, what does Anne-Marie's struggle with food look like?
I like everything that's, you know, I love sugar, you know, so I love dessert, I love chocolate.
But is it that you will eat too much of it, or you'll just...
I'll go through phases where I'll eat too much of it. I'll go through phases. I've been, because of this whole 365 challenge, I've tried to be very disciplined in that regard. But one of the things is, okay, so I'll do a detox every so often. Okay, because I just feel I need to cleanse. I don't deprive myself, put it that way.
Right.
But I've learned to be more conscious of the choices I'm making in what it is that I eat.
Well, we have to take yet another break, but we'll be back in a little bit with one more workout and a little bit more from Anne-Marie. Welcome back, everybody. I've got Anne-Marie Burungu, and we are at Alpha Fit. What you're seeing, what you might be seeing behind us is people working hard at the gym, just trying to get their body goals, their weight goals, their health goals in check. And we've just been trying to uncover and unpack how it is that Anne-Marie seems to be in this place in her life where she is at peace with herself and her body, and has managed to master consistency in an area where many people falter and struggle with. And on that note, actually, she's been showing me like quick exercises that we can all do at home, no excuses, right? So if you can't come to Alpha Fit, which I think you should because it's actually really cool, you can still do this at your house or wherever it is that you may have traveled to, even at an airport lounge. You know, if you find yourself somewhere and you're like, I'm at an airport, I can't do my workout. No. You can find the time to do this. So what are we doing now?
Okay, so we've done a bit of planks, we've done a bit of upper body, so we'll do a bit of lower body as well. And it's actually my favorite body part to work.
Which one?
Legs. Yeah, lower
Really?
body. Yeah, absolutely. Because there's so many things that you can do with it. You know, you can do standing exercises. So maybe we can just stand up.
Okay, so we stand up.
Yeah. Yeah. And basically,
not on the mat.
Yes. So variety of squats. So you could keep your hands behind your head, or you can just clasp them in front of you. Keep your feet shoulder width apart. Yeah, so not too wide. So yeah, and then just imagine you're sitting back into a bench, right? So you're going to keep your chest out, and then.
I always find squats to be so funny. How you like, you know.
But again. Fun because you could just keep it going up and down, or you could just hold it here or pulse it. Yeah.
So like how many should you start?
2, 3, and up. Just 15 to 20 is good. I mean, it's I think really important to have strong legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pulse for 3 and come up
you're
here.
like really arched.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Other things you could do is again, I love lunges. And there's different types. So if you do a forward lunge, so you're hitting more the quadriceps, the front thigh, yeah, and then you could just alternate, yeah. So making sure you bend your back knee, yeah. Now the fun thing is you could also take it back, yeah, and that way you're hitting more the glutes, the butt, yeah. Yeah. Oops, I've lost my balance there. And then also fun, you could take it crisscross, so it's a curtsy lunge, yeah. Yeah. And then up, and then other side. So you're hitting different parts of the leg muscles. Yeah? And this is different parts of the leg. Yeah, so you're hitting a little bit more of the outer thigh this time. Squats again, if you turn your feet out, I'll stand in front of you slightly. If you turn your feet out, then you're hitting more the inner thighs. Yeah? Yeah. So just do it same movement.
Okay. Oh, yes, I feel it. Let me ask you an honest question. Did you get even a little bit tired just then? On this one? Yeah.
No, for that one not. But if we keep going, then obviously, it gets to a point where you feel it. And there's ways you can constantly challenge yourself. So going down a little bit lower, holding it a little bit more. Yeah. But also not getting into the rut of doing the same thing the same way all the time.
Because that's where it can get boring, yeah? Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about something that you are the first Kenyan woman to do, which is you are the first Kenyan woman to be certified as a solo skydiver. What? First of all, when did that become a dream of yours? When did that become a goal?
It only became a goal at the end of last year, the very end of last year.
Okay, tell me about that.
So exactly a year ago, in November last year, my very good friend, co-founder of Vivo, Mundia, was turning 50.
Yeah.
She had her list of top 50 things to do by the time she got 50, and one of them was skydiving.
Okay.
So our little sort of circle of girlfriends decided to give that to her for her birthday. But then thought, maybe we should do it with her. Now, I always had a fear of heights, and really it's only because it was her birthday and because I just felt, okay, we should take her, on this thing.
Yeah.
That was the only reason I signed up, and it was a tandem jump, so I felt okay about it. At least I'm not going to be on my own. We're in our little group. If I show you the video of that tandem, it is the most hilarious thing because I was terrified,
Yeah.
And during the jump, I mean, I don't think I ever realized that I have such a big mouth, because the way I was screaming and my lips were like flapping all over the place. I had this stream of saliva that was going into the instructor's nose. The instructor had to keep wiping himself because of this jet, of saliva, whatever. But I remember landing and thinking, wow.
Oh yeah?
I want to be able to do this on my own.
Oh, okay. So here you are, fear of heights, wasn't even keen on going. You jump and you're like, wait a second, I'm not going to try to do that on my own without someone. So what did it take for you to be the first?
So I signed up for what they call the AFF course. The AFF is the basic course, so it's it stands for Advanced Freefall course. Okay. And what that does is they teach you how to be able to jump safely on your own, but with supervision. So I got through that. Very interesting process. And in the process, I learned a hell of a lot about myself in particular. Yeah, I think there's so many lessons there and life parallels. So for example, embracing fear. And submission. That you're never going to be fully in control of everything, and faith in God. I mean, there's so many things that would come into play. And the first few jumps were hard, were very, very mental. I mean, I'd be approaching the exit of the plane and I'd have tears in my eyes. My palms would be completely sweaty. There's one time I froze. I got a full-on panic attack at the end. I was like, I can't do it, But I mean, I had such patient instructors, and they were Kali when they needed to be Kali. Because in fact, there was one time I had a horrible jump and my instructor was so pissed off with me, because I pretty much didn't follow what it is that I was supposed to have done, and her reaction really freaked me out. And so when she calmed down and I calmed down, she's like, Anne-Marie, this is your life, She's like, if I'm not, kind of with you, I mean, we could end up, with this whole thing, completely backfiring badly,
Wow,
tough initial jumps.
So how many jumps did you need to do?
So for that one, you needed to do, so they say for the AFF, you need a minimum of 8 jumps. Yeah. I didn't get it until my 13th jump. 13. Yeah, because I had some really botched up ones.
Look at that.
In the process.
13, from someone who was scared to now jumping off the plane 13 times at least.
And I've now done 35.
Now done 35.
I've now done 35, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
so you clearly have this fervor for life. You now are, you took the skydiving classes, you have taken on this 365-day challenge, you started learning Spanish and taking these Spanish classes, you've been dancing, which is something you said you never used to before, and now you are. Where is that excitement coming from? That zeal, that need to just expand and grow?
It's sort of multi, layered. So one is that a couple of years ago, I went through a really tough time work-wise. So my day job, I run a distribution business, and we had a really tough couple of years that took a huge toll on me. So mentally, emotionally. I mean, I was totally obsessed, and couldn't shake off what was going on. And I remember, so that was 2015, and then 2016, at the end of it, going into 2017, thinking, I can't believe I've wasted, because it felt like wasting, 2 years of my life just totally consumed in work. And what this had taught me, what had happened at the end of that year was that this business that I was really fighting for and trying to change and whatever, there were a lot of external factors that were beyond my control that had a huge impact negatively on the business. And I'm like, and life goes on, really, and here I am withering away at a lot of stuff that I can't control. So basically, I just felt, what, moving forward, I want to be able to take the reins in and just do what makes me happy. And have everything else sort of just fall into that, So I'm like, first and foremost, I came into this world alone. I will, leave alone. Every day gone is a day gone. So how did I spend that day? Right. But second to that is my kids are now adults. I just have much more time now to be able to focus on myself.
Is that the secret to this glow, to the sense of peace and happiness? Relinquishing this kind of control over things that you can't control, and also having children who are adults.
Yeah, that also
helps. It's like stress mode all over.
Yeah.
But any last words for? Age is often a really defining moment for a lot of women, and it almost traps them into this. You're 30 years old, therefore you must look, feel, say, work at, be, have these roles in your life. You're now 40. You must have by now, given birth, at least you'll have 3 babies, be married, and all these things. Any last words for women who are struggling with that? And maybe I'm asking even because I'm about to turn 30 next year, and I can feel myself like trying to feel like, oh, okay, there's all these things that I needed to do. And you look so at peace, and I want some of that. And I'm sure there's people watching, women watching, and they want what this is. So
for me, like you say, okay, so you're turning 30, there are these things that you needed to do, but needed to according to who? That's the thing, because I think there's a lot of external pressure that, we think we need to have done this because it's what society expects, whatever it is, but what is it that you want, And for me, I mean, I'd be lying if I said that there are things that I never dreamed of having done or whatever. I mean, we all have dreams, and it's what makes actually life interesting. But I think acceptance for me has been huge, So I never got to do that when I wanted to do it for whatever reason. Okay, but I'm here now, and given where I'm at now, what is it that I want for myself? What is it that? How do I want to feel? How do I want to go? Whatever. And for me, age is a gift. Every birthday that we're able to celebrate is a gift. Every year that we're here, is a very big deal. So with that, I love the aging process. I love the freedom that it seems to be bringing. I want to feel better the older I get, and whether that means, I definitely want to feel stronger, so that's a big motivation, or, exercise-wise. I want to be 50, 60, 70, 80, still, very strong and able. Yeah. I want to be having fun. I want to be traveling, I want to be dancing, I want to be, learning. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing that I've learned. I mean, it's never too late to start whatever it is that you want to start, and there's a joy that comes with that. There's a different energy that comes to you when you open yourself up to learning something new.
And I think that's really what I take from you here, that you're so open to learning how to skydive, learning how to, learn a new language, or speak a new language rather, learning how to dance, samba, whatever it is. That there needs to be an openness to continuously learning despite your age, and I love that. Thank you, Anne-Marie.
Sharon, thank you.
And I'm still gonna message you in a week's time. Hey, look, if you want to take this challenge on with me and see if you can do something that you weren't able to do a week previously, then let's all do it together. Why not? Yeah. And who knows, maybe next year we'll all be doing 365-day challenges alongside Anne-Marie. Thanks, Anne-Marie.
Thanks so much, Sharon.
Now I want you guys to take a look at something that we did with our friends over at My Dawa. So here you go.
Living with S in association with My Dawa.
So we're at the heart of My Dawa, where everything takes place, and I'm here with Dr. Farzana Sundaji, who is the Superintendent Pharmacist and Head of Operations.
Yes,
That's
correct.
a lot on your plate. What does that mean, and what exactly do you do?
All right, so basically I'm a pharmacist, and as it's an e-pharmacy platform, an online platform, we need a pharmacist to kind of like be a superintendent pharmacist to oversee the regulatory aspect.
Yeah.
So that's where my superintendent role comes in. Basically, I also have some pharmacists under me and some pharm techs that we all work together to ensure that the regulatory aspect is always met. Even though it's an online platform, we still comply like a normal pharmacy with all the regulatory requirements. Okay? From a head of operations point of view, the whole journey of the client, from when they upload pick an item, all the way up to delivery falls under me as well. So it kind of interlinks both together.
Right,
yeah?
right.
So our main core objective is to make sure that the client gets high quality, affordable medicines at a convenient and at an affordable price.
Okay.
That's the whole model behind it.
Right, right. Now, there's been a lot of talks about some medication not really, being the right quality or the right product, and you never really know what you're getting. So can you take us through the regulatory aspect of your work and why people can trust Maidawa to give them the quality products that they're looking for?
Sure, absolutely. So basically, we're actually very unique in the fact that we have an authentication sticker. So when we buy our products, we like to source right back. So one of my jobs is to go and source directly from the supplier.
Okay.
We try and go as far back up the distribution chain. What happens along the way is when you meet distributors, they kind of like move hands, and as they move hands before they get to the consumer, the market price goes up because everyone has to make something.
Yeah.
And in the process, you can get a lot of issues because you're not getting it directly from the supplier.
Yeah.
So what we do is go right back to the manufacturer, as far back up the supply chain.
Yeah.
When we buy from the supply chain, we straight away put our authentication sticker on. So on a box, you'll get, if it's a cosmetic or something, either seal will be sealed with a QR code and a Maidawa sticker.
So even for the cosmetics
Even for
angle,
the
because that's a big one.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
there's a lot of counterfeits.
Yeah.
So I guess in essence, that's how you eliminate that process of counterfeits coming into
the country.
system.
And to add to that, even with the cosmetics and stuff, we actually go to them and ask them for all their documentation, ensuring that they've come through the country the right way, that all the KEB stickers are on it, all the quality documents in place. We'll never buy anything for non-pharma products that actually have not gone through the right process.
Right.
And that's the only reason then we'll stock it on our platform.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it gives you the confidence to know if you wanted to get any kind of healthcare products, if you wanted to get any kind of hygiene, supplements, that's a big one with a lot of counterfeits
supplements
too.
is very important.
Yeah, yeah. And all these products, you're sure to get them from Maidawa at...
And they're original.
Yeah, exactly. The original items, quality products at really affordable prices. What more does one need?
Exactly. If you want your Pampers, you get it
There
delivered
go.
at home.
Diapers and everything.
Yeah.
Well,
you don't have to carry it with you. That's half the hassle. You have a whole big pack of Pampers and you have to carry it through the supermarkets.
I know, or even go to the supermarket, which is just a headache in itself. But thank you so much, Dr. Farzana. It's good to know that we've got someone qualified who's making sure that everything we need is up to standard.
Exactly. So
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Living with S in association with Maidawa.
There you have it. That's what our friends over at Maidawa had to share about their brand. And once again, you've got to have it downloaded on your phone. Just go to Google Play and download it. Or you can just visit their website, www.maidawa.com. Now, I'm going to have to love you and leave you. Thank you to AlphaFit for this fabulous space. It really is the ultimate place to work out. Like, you come here and you just feel like you want to let out everything. But before I leave you, I want to share with you our WCW, who is none other than Tiwa Savage. She is a female Nigerian singer, songwriter, and a performing artist. Pretty sure you already know her. But she recently won the title of African Best Act at MTV 2018 Awards that took place in Bilbao, Spain. Hey, Tiwa, always looking so fly on the gram, on ground, on stage. Like, more power to you, more power to you. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow, 8 a.m. Bye.